gentlemen, they call me ultimate Benzer. Flow stanza, no one's offender. I've been the hustle, the bubble since I can remember. But I'll be doing okay before
Okay guys, so in today's video I'm going to be making our very own antibacterial transparent liquid soap. Now for those of us who have been following me on YouTube, you'll know that I've actually done a video on transparent liquid soap. But guess what? I still constantly get people, lots of requests on my DM telling me to please now teach them how to make morning fresh standard kind of liquid soap. And I laugh and I tell them, sincerely, I may not know exactly how morning fresh does theirs, and I think it's because of the whole thickness, the consistency, and the whole foaming, how the soap leathers and all that. I really give it up. I give it to Morning Fresh, I will tell you that. But in my class, I have taught my students. I have a lot of professionals, but a lot of people who have not joined my institute. But you know, I would like to always do things that I know will be pleasing, and you know, as a human being, you always just love and of course remember me with. So today I actually just made a sample for one of my neighbors. She has this contract in one of the hotels, so and they requested if she can please do an antibacterial transparent liquid soap. Of course, being that I stay close by, she ran to me now and she told me, can you help me now? She needs a sample. And of course I did for my friend. I just did, I think, about 2-3 liters for her. So this is one of my old containers in the house. You can see the stickers are even worn out, but you can notice the whole transparency. Don't mind the bubbles you see. It's the glycerin in it. It's what gives it that moisturizing effect. But guess what? I actually want to do another video today of a transparent liquid soap, how to make your very own transparent liquid soap. In this case, antibacterial transparent liquid soap. So I set aside some chemicals, the exact chemicals I use in achieving this, and then I'm going to be doing it for you. So sit back, get your paper, get your jotter, even though I'm also going to be listing out the chemicals, the quantities I'll use, but I want you to still take down notes. Now look at how this particular, you can see the transparency of this particular soap. Yes, don't mind me that I'm sitting down here, I'm not showing my face. My dear, I'm not dressed and I just finished making this soap. And all this while I've been doing a whole lot of productions, and I keep saying I will post another video so that I can teach some people out there, at least some free productions, and I'll say no. So pardon me. Today, it is me, trust me. Your number one do it yourself, advocate. I'm the one doing this video. But let me just show you what we're about to do today. You can see the consistency of this particular soap. You can see it, but so we're going to be doing it today. Are you excited? If you're excited, I need you to do me a favor. Subscribe to this channel if you've not subscribed to it, because I actually give out tips like this, production tips like this, and I give out beautiful productions like this for you to do once in a while for free. Well, I also discuss other lifestyle discussions on this channel. So, like I said, sit back, relax, get your paper, your pen. We're about to make magic happen. All right, so the next you're going to be seeing is the chemicals I'm going to be using. I'm also definitely going to be calling out the quantities, and you'll see exactly how I will achieve this same soap you're seeing here. And trust me guys, it leathers like mad, it foams like mad, and the whole antibacterial, look at it, has this moisturizing effect. Like I told you, the bubbles you're seeing in here, it's the whole glycerin, and because I just made it, it's still settling, so you still see the beautiful outcome of this soap maybe after like 2 days or so. Have you seen it? Are you seeing the transparency? Are you seeing it? Are you seeing it? Some even call my transparent soap Morning Fresh standard, and I said, abego, don't come and cobalize me. But you know what, we're here to just always see how we can help souls. So I'll be back shortly. So guys, I'm back. As you can see, I have put out all the chemicals we're going to be using. So I have my mixing bowl. I am going to be mixing my soap in here. I have in here 1.5 liters of water. I have in here 200 ml of water. The reason for separating this water is this. I intend to dissolve my SLS in this 1.5 liters of water, and I'll be dissolving my caustic soda in this 200 ml of water. So now you have the quantity of water I've set aside. You see my mixing bowl. Let's run down the chemicals and the quantities as I always do in every of my production. I don't leave out that because I know it's very important. So in here we have our sulfonic acid. I have exactly 40 ml of sulfonic acid. I have in here exactly 40 grams of SLS. I have in here at Texapon, we're using 100 grams. I have in here my salt, we're using 35 grams. I have in here my caustic soda, we're using 7 grams. I have in here my glycerin, and we're going to be using just 15 ml here. Now this is our tea tree oil. It's going to be the antibacterial chemical. This is what will really make this particular transparent soap serve as an antibacterial soap. And then we have our color, just a pinch or as desired. Now you know how the quantities and the chemicals I'm using. Let's go straight into production. The first I'm going to be doing is to add our SLS into this 1.5 liter of water. Just pour it in. You're expected to do this, and then we stir. The idea behind this is to allow your SLS dissolve and have a smooth blend. If you see, you can still see some tiny grains of rice in here. SLS looks like tiny grains of rice. And please, when you're doing this, please remove your face from it. You can notice I'm coughing back. Yes, it releases very toxic fumes. It will make you cough a lot and even sneeze. Yes, I'm already going through it, but please, for your sake, especially if maybe you have some form of health, an underlying health challenge, I had to remove my nose mask to do this because I needed to talk as well, so I can guide you. So pardon me. Then the next we're going to be doing is to add our caustic soda into this 200 ml of water, like I said. So we're going to leave this. Sometimes this takes approximately about 10-15 minutes to completely melt. Completely dissolve. And that's the whole idea, to allow it to completely dissolve. So we'll be back in the next 10-15 minutes to look at our two chemicals, because those are very important. Once we see the clarity, once we see that it has completely dissolved, we'll go to the next stage. So let's let that dissolve before we proceed. Okay guys, so I'm back. Now this is more like 25 minutes after. I had to just quickly do 1 or 2 in the kitchen. So basically, remember we soaked our SLS in here. You can see how clear our SLS is. Yes, so yours is expected to please be the same. Caustic soda too, don't mind what this cup looks like. You know, I use this stick that I use in turning SLS, so it's a bit cloudy. Ideally, your caustic soda should look very clear. And once you do your own, you will see that it is also very clear. So this is our caustic soda, and we're good to go. So the next we're going to be doing now is to add our sulphonic acid into our already dissolved caustic soda. Now it is called lye solution. So we're going to pour this in here. Once you pour this in here, okay, you're expected to give this a good mix. You just mix. Yes, this chemical reaction is what you also see. Let me bring it up close so that you see. You can see it's now a bit brownish. Now has some kind of foam in it. It's even a bit thick now. So once you are experiencing this, don't panic, you are on the right track. So the next I'm going to be doing now is, pardon me, the next I'm going to be doing now is to pour in my Texapon in here. Okay, so I'm going to just clean up this a bit. Just have a clean towel if you're using one stick, in this case of which I'm using just one stick. So remember I told you this is my mixing bowl, so I'm going to be using this. My son is actually our videographer for today, so in case this video is a bit shaky, please bear with us. So this is our mixing bowl. Now I'll be pouring in my Texapon in here. Okay, once you add your Texapon, make sure you get every part, every particle of it. Yes, your measurement matters. So the next we're going to be adding is our salt. We add our salt. Okay, so this is Texapon and salt in here. So just give it a good mix. Just mix your Texapon and salt very well. Make sure it blends very well. Make sure it blends very well. Okay, just stir this for a minute or two so that the Texapon and the salt can really blend very well. So once it blends, yes, you can see we now have a thick jelly paste here. So please make sure this is what you have in your own production when you're practicing. So the next I'm going to be adding now is our dissolved SLS. Okay, so this is our dissolved SLS. I'm going to be pouring it in here. Just pour gently. If you want to really make it dissolve very fast, just pour gently. You pour the first one, you stir, you give it a good mix. Give it a good mix. Okay, as you're actually stirring, you notice that it's forming a thick paste already. I'm sure you're seeing what mine is looking like. Yes, that is the reaction of Texapon, salt, and when you pour a dissolved SLS, this is what it looks like. A close look will show you the thick paste I'm referring to. Not to worry, you're still on track. The only reason I'm just pouring it in gradually is so that it can be fast. Our mixing can be very fast so that we can achieve our results very fast. Okay? Okay, so once you've done this, you are good to go to start adding your remaining SLS gradually. So we add gradually and then we mix. As you are adding, you notice that as you are adding the SLS, you are still having another thick paste. So but just go ahead with the adding, but just be doing it gradually so that you can easily have a good blend fast. If you pour in all the SLS at once, you notice that it might take longer before all chemicals will dissolve completely. But when you're pouring it gradually like this, you realize that it is faster, and then you mix, well. Okay, so as you are adding, it's still forming a thicker paste. I'm sure you saw the consistency of this one that I showed you, and that's what we're trying to achieve. You're seeing the transparency in it, you're seeing my hands in it, isn't it? Okay, so we'll continue. So we'll add the last SLS. Okay, you still mix. Once you add your water, make sure you mix it very well. I mean your SLS, sorry. Once you add it, make sure you go ahead and give it a very good mix. So after making your soap, I always tell people, take for example this one that I have made. Some persons might say it is too thick. So after making yours, you can see, after making yours and you think it's still too thick, you can go ahead and add water. For me, this one is not so thick for me, and this is the exact measurement that I did. You can see it, this is not so thick. So as you can see that as I am adding, you can see that it still gets in thicker. You can see that this is the consistency that yes, we're looking for. And not to worry, like I said, it will definitely come out looking transparent. So once you've given this a very good mix, you just keep stirring for like a minute or two, or let's just say 5 minutes, so that it can completely blend well. Let's just say 5 minutes so that it can completely blend well. Once you finish doing this, okay, let's just mix again. So once you do this, the next you're going to be adding is your dissolved. Now if you notice, our caustic soda, our light solution, and our sulphonic is kind of separating. That's what happens at moments like this. Some persons will naturally just add it in here, but because I don't want anything to affect the transparency level of this soap I'm making, now what I usually do at this point is this. I use a sieve and I just sieve out. It doesn't mean that you're removing the chemicals or you're removing the efficacy, no. I just use a sieve and just sieve it out a bit, especially the SLS part. That's what I do. I mean especially the sulphonic part. I just sieve it out a bit. You have to keep doing this until everything in here goes through under. And make sure you are careful it doesn't really pour on your hand. Remember, this is light solution, it's very acidic in nature, so please, ideally I should be wearing a glove. But you know how I'm doing this video now, hurriedly, so that I don't procrastinate again. It is well with me. Okay, so we'll continue. Another thing you can also do if you don't want to sieve out like this, once you pour your sulphonic acid into your your caustic soda, if you give it a longer period of time, you see all this extra foam we're seeing here, it will just completely dissolve. But because I don't really want to waste that much time, which is what you should do ideally, So if you can also be patient, you just go ahead. You saw the way it was separating from the cup. That is what it will keep doing until it will just remain very tiny particles on top. That's when you can just use your spoon and scoop it out, and then you pour into your soap. But because I'm kind of in a hurry because I have something else to just do, I'm doing this. But it does not mean the soap will not be effective. So the choice is yours. Either you do this, or once you pour your sulphonic into your caustic soda, you give it time so that it can properly settle well, and then you add it to your soap. So we'll go ahead and do this. Another thing, for some persons, they don't even put caustic soda in their transparent liquid soap. Yes, some persons don't do that. But I've realized that if you really want to have a good thing, and for me, I add caustic. I usually add, pardon me, it was empty anyway. For me, I usually add my caustic soda in it. Why? Because caustic soda is one chemical that I know really handles tough stain. There are a lot of, if you try and imagine what is that thing that enables oil to leave your plate or your palm, it's cause one of the major things is your foaming agent and your caustic soda. It removes very tough grease stain or oily stains. That is one thing it does. So imagine somebody walking into a restaurant, and then because a mechanic, for example, or somebody who have really soiled their hands and they just want to wash their hands, and you're giving them a soap made with caustic, and that's why we use very little. We use 7 grams for this, because if you put too much of it as well in your hand wash is not so good. It reacts on the palm. So little it's okay. It depends on the measurement you're making anyway. For example, we're doing approximately about 2 liters of transparent liquid soap at the end of the day. So you're expected to please be mindful of the quantity of caustic soda you put inside your soap. So in this case, we're done. Some persons might not add. Some persons just use salt, Texapon, SLS, and that's it, and your soap comes out very transparent. You can also try that if you want to. I just always like to add a little bit of foaming agent, which is my sulphonic acid. Foaming agent in this case, SLS plays a major part, but I also just like to add sulphonic acid in mine, and I also like to add caustic soda in mine. So you can go ahead and emulate this, or just try this method I've told you. Texapon, salt, SLS gives you a fantastic job. Put your glycerin, you're good to go. Or if you can do this is still very okay. Because my friend has this contract, I'm just really trying to make sure that we do a good job, that it's very impressive. And this is one of the transparent soap that I know I make and that some people really, really love. So the next I'm going to be doing now is this. I'm going to be pouring the remaining of this sulphonic acid and caustic soda into my cup. I'm just going to do that, and then I'll still let it to be settling. I can always still add it back eventually, but I want to go ahead now. Once you pour in your mixed sulphonic acid, like I told you, you can see it's still separating. I just left this for a while. I'll still come back to it if I need it, but if I don't, I might end up just continue and soap like that. So once you pour in your caustic soda and your sulphonic acid, you make sure you have a very good blend. At this point, you will notice that your solution is loosened a bit, but it doesn't mean the consistency is still very okay, as you can see what we have here. Okay, so we go ahead. You give it a very good blend. Just mix, and you will always notice too that as you are stirring, it's getting thicker. As you are stirring, it's getting. Another thing sulphonic acid and caustic also does is there are chemicals it comes in contact with. It will hasten the whole tracing process. It will hasten the whole thickness process. Sorry. So, and then in this case, we have just added sulphonic acid as well with already dissolved SLS. So you can imagine the action that happens as you are stirring. You will notice that it is getting thicker. Yes, that's what basically happens here. I eventually had to show my face. Anyway, so once you do this, the next we're going to be doing is, sometimes it's advised that since you have the time, you allow it to clear before you go ahead to add your color. But for me, it's still the same thing, because I know it will still give me the same results. This one that I did, I added my color at this stage. So what we'll just probably do now is to add in our color. I'm just going to be using a pinch. Is to add in our color. Okay, so this is just a little quantity of water. So remember, this is our color, so just add it in it. Get this my spoon, can use the tips. Okay, I'm using the same color so that you will see that it's the same thing I did, not that I performed magic. If I had used blue now, some persons will tell me no, it's not the same color. So now for color, for me, I always say as desired. The little the better. As you are pouring it, you'll just be watching, but just make sure that you stir your color very well so that there are no particles anywhere. Once you do this, you just add a bit first and then you stir. You don't necessarily have to add all the colors you have mixed. Okay, once you add, you can see it's still that's not blended well, so we'll add small more again. Okay, so now I'll still add a little more. Okay, so we're good to go. This is okay for me. You can see what this looks like. It's not so dark. Once I do like this and I get this color texture, I'm good to go. So the next thing I usually do after now is this. What I usually do now is I allow this to clear. I allow it to clear before I go ahead to add the remaining items, which in this case is your glycerin, is your tea tree oil. You can also add perfume, but I don't think I would, although I will check if there's still spare perfume, I'll add. I'll look at my chemical section and look for a perfume. Remember, this just came in and I said let me just do. But if you're to add perfume, I'll also show you how you do it and the kind of perfumes that are best used for products like this. So the next we're going to be doing now is just to give this some time to clear out, preferably in the next 12 hours or 24 hours. Yes, if you're wondering, this one I actually made it last night, which is why it became as clear as this. So we're going to give this another 12 hours or so to clear. Another 12 hours or so to clear. So I'll be back in 12 hours so that we will see what our soap looks like and how transparent it is. For now, you can see the consistency, you can see how thick it is. You're expected to have something like this. So it will amaze you to see the end result of this soap. This soap for now doesn't look transparent. I'm sure you can't see the toner, you can't see anything. But let's come back in 12 hours. We're definitely going to see the magic, as I said, happen. Okay guys, let's see what our transparent liquid soap looks like now. It's been exactly almost 15 hours after. Okay, so as you can see, our soap is almost getting there. The more you leave this soap, basically, the more it gets transparent. Remember, this was the first one we did. You can see now, after like about 3 days, you can see how very transparent this one is. And it's always like that. Now let me bring the main bowl. Remember, this was the first one I showed you. Yeah. Remember the first day when we looked at it, it wasn't as clear as this. You can see how very clear this one is now. You can see. We finished this one. This was the sample I gave my friend who is also like a neighbor to me. She lives close by. And then we said, let us do the same thing. Now, if we come back to this like the next 2 days or so, you realize that it will not get as transparent as this. So the more you leave transparent soaps, the better. So the next we're going to be adding now is our glycerin. Once you add your glycerin, you just add, and then you add your tea tree oil as well. Okay, so we just put in a few drops. Okay. Pardon me, I'm using my hand to do this recording as well. So then that's it. Once you add your glycerin, you add your tea tree oil, just go ahead, mix it, just give it a good blend. Just there, add your perfume. I don't really have a perfume right here. Just add your perfume, but make sure you don't use, if you're doing things like hand wash, you're expected to use perfumes, fruit smell, like perfumes that have this fruit smell, like apple, banana, strawberry. It actually makes a whole lot of sense. But if peradventure you want to use something like lemon for this particular soap, I advise that you get a little container, scoop out a bit, pour the lemon, mix it before you pour directly. That way it will help reduce the harsh effect of that lemon. I notice that lemon fragrance mostly has that potential of making your soap look cloudy or even watery. So now if you must use lemon perfume, I've just explained to you the best way for you to use it. Scoop out a bit, add your perfume, and then before you pour directly into your soap. So once you stir, you allow it to settle, or you can go ahead and package, because once you package it, the more you leave it, the more it gets transparent. So we've gotten to the very end of our soap. Remember, we did this one like 2-3 days ago. I showed us a sample here, and then this is the one that we did. It's the same method. So go ahead, practice, share your feedback with me, and let me know. I just said let me really drop this so that it could help someone. So that is the whole process of how you can make your antibacterial. Remember, in this transparent liquid soap, I told you what really makes this antibacterial is the tea tree oil we added, and I just poured in few drops. Pardon me with the way I did it, because I'm using one hand to do this recording. You just put few drops in it. You know, the more you put it, the more you inhale, and then you also feel in your hand. Make sure that you can see this has this moisturizing effect, which I was longing for. Yes, that's the help of glycerin, like I said. And then it has this mint smell, which is the tea tree oil we added. This is the stage you also pour in your perfume, pour in your container, and then you package. So I look forward to hearing your feedback. Let me know how this goes for you, and if you have any questions, don't forget to drop it in the comment section. And also please subscribe. It's not fair that you watch this channel and you don't subscribe. It is really not going to be fair, sincerely. And I promise to also drop another video. There's one I'm working on, and it's a video I know you will love. And the only way you actually get to benefit from that video is by you joining the trend. So join the movement. You can also share the link, get more people so that their lives can change. These are free productions I'm dropping on this channel that I'm hoping that as soon as you start to practice, you begin to testify. All right, till I come away again next time, I remain yours sincerely, Grace Oge Uke.
It's all cool like that. Ladies and gentlemen, they call me Ultimate Benzer. Flow stanza, no